Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come talk to you about AI-powered collaboration with the M365 Copilot app. My name is Ron Pessner. I'm here with Jake Cohen, as well as Martine Sachi and Dan Castanero. And we're in product management responsible for Microsoft Loop, as well as the M365 Copilot app. So I'm going to start with just a few framing conversations up front. Just talk about the inspiration for some of the AI-powered collaborative workflows that we are working on, and the benefits of those, and what's really inspired some of this work for us. And then we're going to go through a fairly extensive demo that Jake's going to lead to show you the product. We'll spend most of our time in the product, and we'll save some time for questions at the end. And I think for those of you that know us and have worked with us in the past, you know that any question is a fair question. Please, please, please ask us questions. It's really helpful for us to understand what's top of mind for you. And you can go ahead and put those in the chat, and we'll be monitoring these as we go. And then we'll save some time for Q&A at the end. All right. So with that, hopefully many of you are familiar with the Work Trends Index report. This is a report that Microsoft publishes every year. We've been updating it. It really was inspired by some of what we were seeing in our research during the pandemic. And we've just carried this forward because as work is transforming, it's really fascinating to understand all the various trends that are impacting all of us as we're going through this transformation with AI. And we've been watching these for a while. This is not a surprise to any of you. But the world's information continues to compound and grow. And as it grows, we are quickly outpacing human capacity. And as any information worker knows, we're constantly dealing with interruptions, and there's a ton of pressure on productivity. All of us are aiming for productivity hacks, ways to work smarter, and we're seeing that this year is a really pivotal year for many organizations that we work with, because this is all reaching a breaking point where people really want better productivity solutions. And as part of that, that's generating a lot of pull for what we are seeing with AI. And I'm going to just go ahead and do this build. So this is, we've spent time talking about this concept of a frontier firm and different ways of working that's, flatter organizations, people working with the assistance of AI. And that's what's happening now and has been happening in the first phase of this. But as we move into this next phase, we see that there's increasingly workflows are being led by people, but then also working with agents. And so there's a lot of promise for this, particularly around routine tasks and ways to leverage agentic capabilities and intelligence to tap into this to be more efficient in the work that we're doing. But as we continue forward, we're seeing some organizations start to experiment with agents playing a much larger role. And really thinking through agent orchestration and having teams be composed of both people and intelligent agents that can work and run tasks on their behalf. And this is something that we're very excited about. We think will create additional capacity for people. Obviously, we've got a key role that everyone needs to play in terms of organizing and orchestrating this and doing all of this in a compliant and secure way. Office has been through a series of transformations over many years. I've had been fortunate to work in Office for the past 8 years and worked on the collaboration journey, which led us to Microsoft Loop. But before that, Microsoft started Office really as a way to digitize your desktop, and this was our first phase of growth. The second phase was really around the cloud, working in a collaborative way and tapping into the Microsoft Graph. And this third chapter that we've entered is really about collaborative workflows and how you work with the product with intelligence. And you think about this is really sort of two parts to this that we're doing. One is the work we're doing where you start in chat with the M365 Copilot app and the capabilities come to you. Second is by integrating these same capabilities into our flagship applications such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, Teams, and Outlook. And you can then leverage intelligence this way in these products. Many of you might have seen what we've recently announced with all of the work with Facilitator in Teams. We're very excited about this because the work we've been doing inside of Teams meetings with Loop really comes alive with these new agentic capabilities. All right, so what sets Copilot apart? How do we think about it? What's our core value? And then I'll introduce the product, talk about how it's being used, and introduce the product. So we've got 6 areas that we're focused on differentiation. We've got in the M365 Copilot app, we're bringing together search, chat, agents, notebooks, and create into a unified information architecture. And we'll show you that when we go through the product. We are integrated into the tools that millions of people use every day. So integrating in with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, and Outlook. These are great entry points to collaboration with AI. We are making it possible to build advanced reasoning agents that are bespoke to your workflows and within your enterprise. And we have a platform for doing this, which is possible to take advantage of. And these are integrated throughout. We've got first-party agents that we're building, as well as enabling you to build your own. The point 5 is really about what we call the Copilot control system. But this is when we think about the work that we're doing for governments and enterprises around the world, security, management, privacy are all really, really critical, and they're foundational to the Microsoft value proposition. And so this is an area of extreme focus and investment for us. And then we also, on point 6, have worked through a series of ways to do the deployment so that we've got both a subscription offering, but also things that can be accessed on a metered basis. We have enterprises large and small taking advantage of M365 Copilot to transform their productivity workflows. There are just a couple examples we included here, which we'll make available after the presentation. But you can take a look at any of these case studies. We're incredibly proud of the transformations that we see happening with our customers, and we're very honored to be part of that transformation experience. Okay, so with the M365 Copilot app, we talk about this as the UI for AI, and we've released this application on every major platform over the course of the past. We released end of May and finished rolling out in June earlier this year. You can see that the application is available on web, Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. So we have both a desktop and a mobile version of this. And I'll just play a really quick video that gives you an overview of the M365 Copilot app. Great. So let's break down a little bit of what you saw, and then we'll go through the demo. But we organized both of the experiences on desktop and mobile around chat. So chat is the center and default of the experience. But we've also integrated search. This includes natural language search, so it's easy to recall things you're looking for. And agents are also integrated, as we had discussed before. And then notebooks and create are organized in what we call the left rail, or the information architecture of the application. So this unlocks a whole bunch of different scenarios that we're really excited about, and we'll step through with you. But just a couple areas where you can see M365 Copilot really delivering breakthrough value are areas where you can really bring together the power of the latest models in a secure and compliant way, combined with your enterprise data and access to what is in your tenant. And when you bring these together, they really deliver this incredible breakthrough value. So you can see this in things like researcher or analyst, as well as Copilot-driven meeting notes, or the ability to create notebooks that are a grouping and grounding concept that make the output from Copilot super relevant for what you're working on. And of course, in all of these scenarios, you can output pages which are based on Microsoft Loop. All right, so with that, I'll turn it over to Jake, and we'll step through a live product demo. I'll let you take control, Jake.
Perfect, thanks, Ron. All righty, so to set some context for this demo, I'll be playing the role of a marketing manager who recently joined a company named Zava, and this company makes wearable tech and clothing. But I want to note that everything you'll see in this demo today is available worldwide for Copilot licensed users. So if you've got a Copilot license, you can try all these scenarios out. So we're going to start at the heart of the Copilot app. This is our redesigned homepage, and it's centered around chat. Now, I personally use chat every day to use it to get answers, catch up on meetings I missed, and more. But sometimes it can be hard to know what Copilot can do or how to prompt in the best way. And so that's why we've introduced personalized prompt suggestions on the bottom here for new users. This is tailored to your active work. So for example, you can see what's the latest from a colleague like Ron. You can get key points from a file you may have accessed recently or it's been shared with you, and more. And you can see more prompt suggestions here too. So just a great place to jump off and try new things out. In addition to this, there is also a prompt gallery to explore prompts that are created and stored in the app, as well as prompts that people in your company can make. And when you prompt Copilot, you can also save it for later. So I've got my favorite catch up from vacation prompt that helps me get caught up when I return. All right, and moving back to the chat box, just to show a few more things. If you want to call upon an agent, you can simply type @ and you can see the agents that are available to you. So you can reference those, or you can dive right into research or analyst. You can also use the / menu, and this is where you can pull in relevant work content. So you can pull in a person, which will ground Copilot on that person and what they're working on. You can pull in files within your org. You can also reference meetings and emails and sites. And all of this helps you start your conversation with Copilot on the topic or person or work file you want to talk about. Now let's see chat in action. For this example, I'm going to show you how I can get caught up on a new project that I've been put on. Wanted to also note that chat is now built on top of ChatGPT 5, which will automatically use the best AI model available based on your prompt. So you don't have to select which model you want to use. So I'm going to start with the prompt. I'm new to this project. Tell me everything about Zava Core. And one more thing to note is you can control what Copilot grounds on. So for this example, I really don't want to use information on the web. I want to just focus on work files. So I can go up to settings and turn off web search. In contrast, if you want to ask a question and only use web, you can switch to the web toggle here as well. So let's run this prompt. With this, it's going to search all of my organizational documents and things I have access to give me a more tailored and accurate response. you can see here. And what's powerful about this prompt and response is it's grounded on enterprise data. So the answers are relevant to my company, to what I'm working on, and to what I have access to. And you can see the citations as well here, the sources that were used, and you can quickly jump into these files to talk about it more. You can also see prompt suggestions to continue the conversation on a particular file. So next, I want to talk about memory. We've also added memory to Copilot. And so when talking with Copilot, it will begin to pick up your preferences as well as remember what things you're working on. So your conversations become more personalized to you. So I'll show another example. I see in this response, I see nice bulleted lists, but I also like to see data in tables. So I'm going to ask Copilot to remember that I like information presented in tables and lists when appropriate. And it will add that to my memory. And you can see memory here. You can go to settings and look at Copilot memory and see all of the other memory prompts that I've created before to make the responses more tailored to me. You can also give Copilot overall instructions on how you'd like it to behave. So it's really helpful, and this will just get better and better over time as you use Copilot more. All right, so next, let's explore what else you can do in the Copilot app. On the left, you can see the navigation pane. And here's where you can access all the great capabilities in Copilot. So under chat, you can see agents, all your conversations you've had in the history. You can also see all the Copilot pages you've created, which we'll talk about later. We'll also dive into demos on Copilot notebooks and Create. But I'm first going to start with apps. Now, the Copilot app is a replacement of Office.com or the M365 app that you may have used before. And as you can see here, you can still access all the applications available to you and your organization, just like you could before. And you can easily pin and customize your app to your preferences to have quick access to things like OneDrive or any other app you use frequently on the left navigation. All right, so next, let's talk about enterprise search. I'm sure we can all relate to juggling many projects and documents and files, and picking up where you left off can be tough, especially after a busy week. So with Microsoft 365 Search, we're infusing it with Copilot. So you can search and find any file across both first and third-party applications. And here at the top, you can see recommended files that you've been recently working on. And this can be a quick way to get back into what you worked on before. And similarly, we're kind of bringing Copilot into each experience and giving suggestions so you can get prompt ideas of what you might want to call upon for this particular file and get ramped up. And just like before, you can see all your quick access files below, as well as documents that have been shared with you or your favorites. So just a great place to dive into the work you were doing recently. You can, of course, also just use enterprise-grade search to look for both files and sites or people, as well as questions you might have. So I'm going to ask something like, what's the vacation policy at Zava as I'm a newer employee? And Copilot will not only find relevant files and SharePoint sites that will answer the question for you, but it's also just going to answer it in line, just as if you were to ask in chat. And so you can gather this information much more easily and quickly and find the information you're looking for. For this demo tenant, I only have a few files and apps, but you'll see a rich ecosystem of first and third-party sources here in the results pane in your organization. So definitely recommend trying that out and seeing what comes up. All right, so next, let's dive into how Copilot can help you go even further with agents. So our two premier agents are researcher and analyst. These both leverage deep reasoning models and can help you do the heavy lifting on the research or analyst work for you. We also have a growing list of agents in our agent store, built both by Microsoft as well as third-party agents and agents that are built in your organization by coworkers or your company. And so it's a great place to explore and find useful agents for you. For this demo, we'll use Researcher. Now, personally, I use Researcher every week to gather the latest advancements in AI. It's a really great tool to gather information across the web and information happening within your company, and you can summarize both of those together. For this demo, let's dive deeper though into the specific industry of smart textiles and wearable tech and clothing for Zava. So I'm going to ask researcher to create a comprehensive report on the latest advancements in smart textiles and wearable tech and include web and work sources. And what's helpful about researcher is it takes a moment to ask follow-up questions to clarify specifically what you're looking for and make sure it focuses on the right thing. And we're making this even better, so soon there'll be updates to more customizations like the length of the report as well. But I'm going to ask it to focus on the consumer market, market trends, and innovations in clothing. And you'll see below right away, it will start its deep reasoning and show its progress. And so you get to kind of peek in and see what research is doing to synthesize the wealth of information on the web and in your company and take the time to put together this report. And as you'd expect for a good research report, it will take more time to gather all this information. So we'll come back later when it's completed. But again, it's just a great example of how you can give a task to an agent to complete on your behalf and be notified when it's completed and get ramped up. Okay, so next let's talk about creating documents with Copilot and collaborating with your colleagues. I'm going to take a peek at Teams, and I see that Ron has asked me to share a blog draft with me. So let's work on that next. So with Copilot, you can not only get answers to questions or get ramped up, you can also draft content like a blog post or a report, and you can work on that file side by side with Copilot. So let's ask to draft a blog post about Zava Core, this new project that I'm working on. And let me actually do that one more time and turn on GPT-5. Try this one more time. What's great about GPT-5 is, again, it will select which model to use when reading your prompt and can use deep reasoning as well to make sure it makes the best decisions. All right, so there we go. So you can see here that Copilot decided to use deep reasoning on preparing this blog content, which is great. Instead of just spitting out the quickest thing you could come up with, it's going to take some time to think about what the request is, the content, the structure of the document, and what would be the best results. So you can even peek at what it's looking for. Of course, it's going to look at files within the company about this topic and provide a draft of a blog. And here we have it. So this is looking good. It's got a table of data, some good headers, and some good content. So this is looking nice. And so what I want to do is take this response and start working on this document and editing with Ron. So that's what's great to use Copilot Pages for. So at the bottom of any response, you can simply click Edit in Pages, and this will create a document side by side with chat for you to be able to work on. And this is a Copilot page, which comes with rich building blocks for you to create content and add different building blocks to make this document great. And I'm going to share this with Ron, which is Dan, who's helping out for this demo. And I can simply copy this page as a component and insert it into the communication tool I like to use. And you can send this with in Teams or email. You can also embed it in Whiteboard and OneNote. And you can see Dan playing as Ron, jumping into the document right away and making co-edits live so we can easily collaborate together and make edits. And additionally, we have attribution. And so you can see in this document who's edited what. And as you can see here too, it's indicating what content was drafted by Copilot with Jake. And I can also hover here and see that Ron typed this here. So you get a better feel for where this content was generated from. So this blog is looking better. And when you're ready, you can simply convert this document into Word and hand it off to work with more people in your company and formalize it until it's ready to publish online. You can see it maintained all the great formatting and just makes it much faster to go from idea to content creation and build on top of the draft that Copilot created with you. All right, so that's creating pages with Copilot. Next, we're going to see how you can organize your work and files further with Copilot notebooks. So with notebooks, it lets you group together work files, meetings, emails, and chats all together in one place. And Copilot will ground on this content to allow you to have a more tailored conversation on a particular project or topic. And it's really easy to create a notebook and give it a name. And again, I'm working on the Java core project, so I can simply search for files in my organization that are about Java core. I can select the ones I'd like, pick the tech specs doc and this product FAQ, and simply click create. That's going to pull all these reference files into one place, and they can be stored anywhere in your organization, but this references all of them in one place. So Copilot can read all these files and your conversation will be focusing on the content in this notebook. Now I'm going to dive into a completed notebook I made yesterday. I want to show you a few more things you can do. First, you can see, oh, and this is also notifying me that the research report just finished, which we'll check out later. So that's great. So in any notebook, you can give the notebook instructions on how you'd like it to respond. So for this notebook, as a marketing manager, I want to use this to ground on the project and create some social media content like a LinkedIn post. So I've asked it to act like a marketing and social media manager, make sure it's clear, have good engagement and brand alignment, and maintain professional and conversational tone. We also have audio summaries that you can use to get caught up on a topic. And I'm going to play that now. So this is an AI generated summary of all of the content in your notebook. You can regenerate it or change it into different formats as well. But it's a great way for you to get caught up on a new work stream and use it to listen to on your commute or your drive to work, or just use it as a different way of learning about a new topic. Now for this notebook, my goal was to create some social media content. So I'm going to ask Copilot to write a LinkedIn post highlighting product delighters and differentiators of the Java core product, giving it some instructions on length and to use some emojis. And right away, we've got a nice looking post. And I can summarize or make some tweaks here. I can ask it quickly to change the tone or rewrite it for different audiences. And I can see again what sources this came from. And when I'm ready, I can simply copy the response and use it in LinkedIn or wherever I'd like to use it. So that is an example of using Copilot notebooks to ground on a particular topic or project. All right, so next, let's unleash our creativity with the create module. Now, the create module is my personal favorite. Even as a non-designer, I can now more easily generate images or posters or banners, videos and more just with a prompt. Here's an example of where you can create imagery. And you can start off with an example. So you can browse here and look for certain images that fit the style you're looking for. You can see, realistic images, you can see illustrations, you can see images with nature, some really cool examples. And hovering on any of them actually shows you the prompt. It shows you the image example it gave it to use as reference. And you can start with that prompt to edit it to your liking. So given Zava is a clothing company, I actually used this prompt as an example to take this shoe and replace it with a Zava shoe that we're working on. So I'm going to jump to the completed project here. And you can see here, we replaced the shoe with this Zava Smart Fleet. And it was really easy to just upload the image and tweak the prompt and get a professional looking image that we can use in social media. Now I want to give you a tour of a few more things you can do in the Create module. In addition to creating all this great content, you can also create a brand kit for your company. This helps make sure everything stays on brand with the right colors, fonts, and logos. So I've created one for Zava. I simply had to update and add the logo. I could specify our color palette. I was able to specify what fonts we wanted to use and give it some reference images. Super easy to get set up. And now, anytime I create an image or content in Create, I can reference this brand kit to make all the created content on brand. So I'm working on a marketing deck, and I wanted to make an infographic and reference one of the documents that we're working on. So I can scroll through here. I can look at one that I like. I think this one will be good. And we can specify the brand and use the Zava brand kit. And then I'm going to switch the prompt to be more to my company. So an infographic that reads smart wearables and clothing industry trends, showing the differences. And I'm going to also add a file. And we're going to look for, let's find it, this newsletter. And so it's going to reference all of the information in this newsletter and make it into a nice infographic slide. All we need to do is simply click run, and it's going to give us 4 different options that we can look at and explore as examples. You can also see below your prior work. So this is what I was working on earlier this week. And while this is getting pulled together, I want to show you that this first example was doing this exact same prompt, but without the brand kit. And you can see the colors were just completely off, and I have to do a lot of post edit to make it look and feel like my company. In contrast, when using the brand kit, all these examples were way more on brand and just looked like it perfectly fits our company style.
Jake, this is one of my favorites, just because it's very hard for me to be able to do this on my own. But with the help of Copilot, it's just so much easier to create these.
Yeah, it's the most surprising to me for what it can create, especially imagery, and giving it a reference image for any type of image you have at work. It does a really great job. So here we go. Here is a slide it created. And what's great is this is not just an image, it's an editable image. So I can select objects and I can change the color. And I've got my Zava brand color palette right here. So I can, try different colors and see what looks good. Maybe we'll make this darker. And And in addition to changing the colors and styles, I can also simply click on any of the text and change it. Maybe we just want to say, industry trends. I can make the logo bigger. It really just feels as simple as editing a PowerPoint slide for what AI generated. So this is just another example of what you can do in the Create module to more quickly create images, videos, storylines, infographics, slides, and more. One other thing I did want to show here, the power of what you can do in this Create module is you can also duplicate the page if you want to try a few different versions out and you don't want to override your file or change or accidentally mess something up. And so say I want to use this not only in a slide deck, but also a poster in my company. It's really easy to change the format to portrait, click update, and it's going to generate new files for me that I can pick up and continue off on. So to me, it's like asking a colleague or friend to make this design edits for me, but I can do it all on my own. So we'll take this one, and this is getting close to ready to make as a poster in my company. Okay, so to conclude, we're going to go back to Researcher and see its finished results. You can see the history of your chats and when it last finished. And below, we can see the finished reports. I'll jump to the previous one. Here we go. And as you can see, it's really rich content. It's got interactive charts as well to make consuming this content easier. And it's got a wealth of data. It bolds the important information and it shows the reference files it used as well throughout. So it has citations. I'm just going to jump all the way to the bottom. And you can see here as well the citations it used. And you can see all the links it used externally too on the market trends and market information about this domain. And just imagining me having to search and source all this info on my own and pull it all together in a report would just take hours. And having Copilot help me do this, and I can turn this into a page just like before and edit it further and make it fit my style and voice. It's a really great jumping point to get this type of work done. And with that, this concludes our comprehensive demo of the Copilot app. Again, this was all available to you today with the Copilot license. So I hope this educated you on some new things that it can do that you might not have known, things you can try and ways it can make work easier for you. So
That's
thank
awesome,
you.
Jake.
And we're going to pass it back to Ron on the presentation.
Great. Thanks so much, Jake. Yeah, excellent demo, great overview of the product and where all the different things you can do from search and chat to Researcher and Pages and integration with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, which is a real differentiator. I'm going to go back and take control and just cover a couple things here, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. So we often get asked the question, Jake just went through everything that you have access to with an M365 Copilot license. However, if you're already an M365 subscriber, you can, we often get the question, what are the capabilities without the $30 license? And so we wanted to give you a quick overview of those. At a high level, you can think about it as you get access to the web scope. So not the work data, but all of the publicly available information on the web, and the ability to access that in a secure and compliant way using the latest models. You can reason over files in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. And then you can also pay as you go on agent access from this. So it's possible to be able to access agents, but they are on a metered and pay-as-you-go basis. Quick overview of what the app looks like if you do not have a $30 license. It again leads with chat, but you can also access these other capabilities, but in a more limited way. And we've included a quick summary, and we'll do this as a leave behind, a quick summary of the overview of what you have access to without the $30 license, and then what you have access to with the M365 Copilot license, which is what Jake went through and described for you in the demo. All right, so just real quickly looking at our roadmap and some of the work that we have in plan. So we start back in last fall with the Wave 2 release. We released in May of 2025 the M365 Copilot app. And in August, we announced GPT-5 support. And you can see that in the product today. And then this fall, we are working on human and agent collaboration, and you'll see more of this. I just posted in the chat an update from Satya on expanding our support for additional models as part of the M365 Copilot experience. So you'll hear more from us coming out this fall. And then we often get asked the question about the impact. We're tracking the impact of Copilot inside of Microsoft, and you can see we're already across multiple departments seeing significant productivity increases based on our own usage of the product. And these are, span every department from finance to sales to IT and our legal department. And then, we've got a series of use cases that we're exploring and making available for folks to learn from how we're using the product internally. And we often, as a conclusion, we often get asked the question, hey, how do I help my organization adopt Copilot? And so we've put together a M365 Copilot Success Kit. This really spans a couple different aspects. One of them is a scenario library. So this is primarily targeted towards business leaders, thinking about how can you take advantage of the scenarios that really come alive and deliver those wow moments with M365 Copilot. We also have a similar playbook for CIOs, and we get a lot of questions from CIOs and IT leaders about the different capabilities, and particularly security, compliance, privacy, governance. And so we've got some resources available there. And then we also have an adoption guide for end users. So this is intended to be something that you can easily re-leverage inside your organization and be able to then help people adopt Copilot and get the most out of it. So all of this is aggregated at the aka.ms Copilot Adoption Hub URL. And of course, if there are any gaps that you see in this or questions that you have, please reach out to us. We're very excited to get that feedback because it helps us figure out what else we need to add in to best support you on your AI adoption journey. So I just close by saying on behalf of Jake, myself, Martine, Dan Costanero, a huge thank you for your time today, as well as all of the feedback and questions. We really appreciate it, and we'll just keep iterating with you. And if there anything that we can do to help your AI journey, please let us know. And I think we also have, we've got a really quick QR code here to help rate the session, and then also give us any additional feedback that you might have. But I think we've got time here at the end, I think about 10 minutes for questions. And so we want to open it up for any questions. And I see we've been answering some questions in the chat. Thank you so much, Dan, for doing that. But there may be additional questions that have come up or that you have. And so we wanted to open it up for any questions now.